Welcome to The Global Divide, a channel dedicated to bringing you neutral information and analysis on the key events shaping our world. We aim to provide a balanced perspective, free from left or right bias, for viewers across the globe. Today we are talking about Donald Trump and the possibility of a third term. So, the third term conversation has resurfaced. Last week, the media reported that Donald Trump indicated he hadn't ruled out the possibility of running for a third term. For those of us who have followed this, it feels like revisiting settled ground. And frankly, with the current challenges to the rule of law, it's a distraction from more pressing issues. Let's reiterate. The 22nd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution stands firmly against a president serving a third term. To fully grasp why, let's delve a bit deeper into the history of presidential term limits. When the Founding Fathers were drafting the Constitution, the idea of executive power was a sensitive one, given their recent break from monarchy. While some, like Hamilton, initially proposed a president serving for life, this was ultimately rejected in favor of a system with elected terms. The original Constitution set a 4-year term, but lacked explicit limits. George Washington's voluntary retirement after 2 terms established a powerful tradition. However, it wasn't legally binding, and figures like Ulysses S. Grant and Theodore Roosevelt later sought third terms, albeit unsuccessfully. The norm held until Franklin D. Roosevelt's unprecedented election to a third and then a 4th term during a period of national crisis. It was this departure that galvanized support for a constitutional amendment. The 22nd Amendment, ratified in 1951, explicitly states, "No person shall be elected to the office of president more than twice." It also includes a provision for presidents who ascend to the office mid-term. This amendment was a clear statement against the concentration of power in one individual for too long. Now, regarding the question of whether Donald Trump can run for a third term, the Constitution limits being elected more than twice. Some have proposed legal interpretations suggesting that a president could serve a third term through a non-election pathway, such as becoming vice president and then president. Proponents of this theory point to the specific wording of the 22nd Amendment, focusing on elected. However, this interpretation is largely refuted by legal scholars. The 12th Amendment, which outlines the process for electing the president and vice president, states that no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. The prevailing legal view, supported by scholars like Eugene Volokh and Akhil Amar, is that being ineligible for a third election to the presidency under the 22nd Amendment would also make a person ineligible to serve as vice president. Since the vice presidency is a direct path to the presidency, this effectively closes that loophole. The intent behind the 22nd Amendment was clear: to prevent any one person from holding the presidency for more than 2 elected terms. To suggest that it allows for a third term through a technicality that bypasses the electoral process seems to contradict this fundamental purpose. While the Constitution can be amended, the current legal framework strongly opposes a third term. It's also worth noting how different media outlets frame this issue. As we saw, right-leaning sources often highlight potential loopholes, while center and left-leaning sources tend to emphasize the constitutional barrier. This underscores the importance of getting your news from diverse sources to understand the different angles being presented. Mention sponsor, Ground News, as in the original script. So, while the notion of a third term might generate discussion, the constitutional limitations are significant. Our primary focus should arguably be on the immediate challenges we face. What are your thoughts on the third term debate and the media's coverage of it? Share your perspectives in the comments, and if you appreciate this analysis, please like and subscribe to The Global Divide for more context on these important issues.